Just pulled up out front of Toyota. We're about to take the new 250 Land Cruiser Prado for a test drive.
You wanna get away, you better get in line. Won't go another day of wasting any time. I've got a lot to say, can't hold it in this time. Got no filter, I got no filter. 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 No filter, I got no filter.
G'day campers, welcome back to 1010 Adventures, and we've just pulled up out front of Toyota. We're about to take the new 250 Land Cruiser Prado for a test drive. Before we get into that, I just want to let you know where things have been at. If you've been keeping up on our Facebook and Instagram pages, you'll have seen about 8 weeks ago from time of filming, we sadly lost our beautiful Ember after a short battle with cancer. It's been very, very hard for us. It's very unexpected. She was only 9. So very hard on us, and also very, very hard on Phoenix. She's a COVID puppy. She's not known life without another dog. And yeah, she almost overnight developed severe separation anxiety. So along with dealing with that, we've been rapidly on the hunt trying to find another boxer. And pleasingly, about 4 weeks ago, we found our beautiful Inca, who is a white boxer. And we're giving her the nickname the Bulldozer because she is turning into a little tank. Gorgeous, but keeping us very, very busy. Anyway, we're about to take the 250 Land Cruiser Prado for a test drive, but before we do, we've got a couple of minutes before we're due for our appointment, so I just thought I'd talk a little bit about it. And number one, I'm actually not sure if I'm going to be able to film the test drive. The dealership we're going through has been talking to Toyota Australia and seeking permission for us to film the test drive, but I have not had any communication back from either the dealership or Toyota Australia at this point. So we'll probably know when we go inside whether we're allowed to film. If we are, we'll film from inside the new vehicle. If not, I'll come back and talk about our thoughts on the test drive when we come back. It's a pretty miserable day outside, so we're going to be getting a good feel for how it handles in the wet. But before we do go for the test drive, absolute full disclosure, we're not buying one, as you can probably tell from the vehicle, from the thumbnail. And why aren't we buying one? I guess there's a couple of reasons for it. Number one, top of the list, if I do try and buy one and put a deposit on one, my wife is going to kill me, and I don't like that idea very much. The other issue we have is we want to set up for off-road. We would buy the altitude version if we were going to buy one. But at this stage, there's very, very little information around accessories, aftermarket parts. I wouldn't put a Toyota bull bar on it. I would like a bull bar and a winch, and you can get a full setup. In fact, Toyota have got much more options available for the 250 than they had for any of their previous models. I think in total there's 9 or 10 different bull bar variants you can buy, with or without winches, with or without driving lights, steel, aluminium, hoopless, hooped, colour-coded, not colour-coded. It's a quite expansive list, which is surprising, but again, it's Toyota genuine bull bar. I don't know, I don't like the look of them. GVM upgrade. One of the big criticisms that's come out about the new 250 series is its payload. It's slightly less than the 150 series, but you've got the increased towing capacity up to 3.5 tons. So if you've got 350 kilos of ball weight off your vehicle payload, I think it works out that with no accessories, no bull bar, no winch, none of the other stuff, you're going to have about 250 kilos of payload available. That's not a lot of payload for 2 adults, luggage and 2 dogs, and that's before you've put any accessories into the vehicle at all. So that's a concern. We definitely want a GVM upgrade, and at this stage I've not been able to find anything online about companies that are doing it, it's going to take time, research, money. So companies like Lovells, who we've put in this car, Lovells will probably take some time to do one. And I don't know how the sway bar disconnect and everything else is going to work with that. It was, I believe, and leave me a comment below if you think I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Kakadu, when they put in the variable suspension disconnect and changes, that meant that you couldn't get a GVM upgrade in the Kakadu in the 150 series for quite some time. So I don't know how that's going to work for the Altitude. The other big consideration for us is the 48 volt battery system and where that sits in the vehicle. Our last video, we put drawers in the back of this car, and I love having the drawers as much as they were a challenge to put in. I love having them. It makes carrying our off-road gear much more manageable. But with that 48 volt battery system and where it sits, if you put drawers in the back of the car, are you actually going to be able to, or more importantly, is Toyota going to be able to service that 48 volt system if and when it needs it? So that's a serious consideration that I don't know the outcome of. It's something I'm going to ask Toyota today, although I honestly don't expect them to have an answer. There's a lot of there's a lack of information about the new model. Even Toyota themselves have, or the dealership have said, we just don't know. So I'll be interested to find out how that goes when I ask them, and I'll let you know when we come back. On the subject of drawers and storage, one thing I did want to point out is there's been a lot of negativity around the back of the 7-seat versions. I've got a slightly different opinion. I agree it's ugly and it doesn't look that well designed, but if you are in need of a 7-seat vehicle because you have 4 kids or for whatever reason you want a 7-seat vehicle, you're not going to be putting drawers in the back of it. The big plastic tub in the boot that everyone's sort of making comments about it being inconvenient and the like, I think Toyota have actually done something I think is going to work for a lot of off-roaders that need that 7-seater. It is a fully removable tub, which means you can take it out of the vehicle, you can wash it. It's plastic, it's going to be cleanable, which means you can use it to put dirty gear, off-road recovery gear, all that kind of stuff in a secure tub, out of the way, and still put other things on top of it, much like you would with a set of drawers. So look, I don't think it's the best design. I think there's some real gaps and holes, as people in other videos have pointed out, but all in all, I think it's not the worst idea that Toyota have come up with. I think it's got some merits. Leave me a comment below if you think that whole rear setup in the 7-seater is a complete turn-off and you wouldn't touch it, or would you only be looking at a 5-seater version anyway? Let me know in the comments below. Anyway, look, we're going to get out of here. We're going to go and take this vehicle for a test drive in this lovely Melbourne weather and see how we go. We'll catch you in a second.
1 hour later.
Alright, so we've just come back from test driving the new Prado. We were not given permission to film. Toyota Australia gave a blanket no. I don't know if that's because it wasn't a media release vehicle. I know they do have media vehicles, so there could be any number of reasons why not. But regardless, no filming. We test drove the GXL. That was the demo model I had available. I'm going to retract some of my comments that I made earlier. One of the things that I noticed with one of the main things I noticed with the vehicle and that bucket in the back, it's very flimsy. It wouldn't take the weight of some recovery gear, so if you've got steel shackles, you'd be in trouble. If you're just using synthetic shackles, the rope shackles, you'd probably be okay, but it's very flimsy. I did ask the dealership some questions on modifying the vehicle and whether or not, if you put drawers in, would the dealership require access to the 48 volt system underneath? The answer is yes. So immediately that throws any thought of purchasing one of those cars completely out the window. I understand the need for all of the emissions rules and so forth, but in all honesty, I think all of the compromises that Toyota have had to make to release this vehicle, ultimately, those compromises render the vehicle for someone like me and the uses that I would have for it not worth the money. I couldn't drop $102,000 on the Altitude before I've put any mods into it, and then not be able to do many mods. There's just too many limitations. To be honest, the dealers didn't have a lot of information. They're still not even sure about the weight limit in the boot, whether it's the box that can only take 60 kilos, whether it's the whole battery cover area that can only take 60 kilos. It just doesn't add up. And I understand it's a new vehicle and more information will come out, and I'm not trying to cast dispersions or throw shade at the dealership and their lack of information. I just don't think Toyota have brought enough information to their dealers yet. So there's just a little bit of confusion about what you can and can't do with a vehicle. So, look, at this stage, from my perspective, and this is just my opinion, I would not be buying the new 250 Series Prado. I will say that the engine in it, absolutely the highlight of the vehicle. While it's the same engine as this car, driving it in normal mode and putting the foot on the accelerator, it is like this vehicle in sport mode. When we put it in sport mode, the difference wasn't as noticeable as what it is in this. So I guess if I want that engine performance, I'll just put it in sport mode a lot. Other than that, look, just too many compromises. I just couldn't justify it. Let me know in the comments below, given what I'm telling you, and look, there's plenty of videos. Ronnie Dahl, Overland Travelers, a whole lot of other YouTubers have actually bought this vehicle, and there'll be more information coming from them. But I'd be curious in your comments below, do you think there's too many compromises? Would you, even with the unknowns, would you be still tempted to purchase a $100,000 Altitude, or any of the other models for that matter? Anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully this has been informative. Don't forget to subscribe. Catch you in the next one. Cheers.